Hey everyone, it's Ashley Little with Wholesaling Out of the Box, and I am joined today by Shawn Bowen, Kaylee Body, Jacob McPherson, and Cameron Peters. And today we're going to go over 2021 goals. And what we're going to do is talk a little bit about each of our yearly goals and then go down and break that down to see what that looks like for the first quarter, maybe the second quarter, just so that you guys can see not only what we're trying to do within our company, but how to break down these goals, because making sure that you break them down into measurable, achievable pieces is really what's key to being able to accomplish that. You don't want to have a goal that you can't measure, because then you get to the end of the year and you're like, I don't know how I didn't hit that goal. Well, did you have steps to get there? Or were you just trying to like high jump the whole thing? And I'm short, so high jumping sure won't work for me there. But let's go ahead and get started. Shawn is dying over there.
You can high jump. We'll just get you a trampoline.
Yeah.
That was the best one so far. High jumping is not for me. Oh, I'm dying. That's hilarious.
All right. Sorry, guys. Jacob, why don't you go ahead and get us started?
Alrighty. So goals for 2021. So personally, now that I have officially made the shift full-time into Full Circle, I'm looking to do 30 wholesale deals, which breaks down to 2.5 deals a month, right? Roughly. So in order to get there, just to kind of break down some numbers, since that's kind of what we want to talk about. So we know that on average for our company to get a deal based on KPIs, we have to have 305 outbound calls or touches to sellers on a monthly basis. So if I am hitting 2.5 deals per month on average, then on average in any given month, I would have to make 763 calls in order to maintain that number. So the cool thing about this is that, of course, as always, we are going to track this as we go throughout the year. So if we need to pivot, then of course we'll be able to do that, right? That's one of the massive benefits of tracking your KPIs and knowing your numbers. So 762 or 763 calls per month. Let's just take it over 4 weeks, right? So that's a little less than 200 calls per week is where I need to be in order to hit that number. We as a company, I think we talked about this in a previous episode, but we did a while back create an incentive program. And here's a lesson. Actually, this is for anybody who has a company, anybody who is interested in creating a company. When it comes to incentives in an organization, what they have found, and you can go and you can look at any major Fortune 500 company, but what they found is that the incentives have to be consistent with the annual goals of the company. And if you can do that successfully, that's how you're going to see what successful companies are able to grow year over year. So I did a study on this. It was with the airline industry, and shocker, Southwest was the company that grew the most year over year. And if you look back at how they incentivized their employees, almost all of the incentives were based around customer satisfaction. So if you think about that being the core of your business, right? The core of your business is your customers. So Southwest created an incentive program for their employees, would give them bonuses based on how well each individual employee took care of the customer, whether or not that's an internal customer or an external customer, right? So that's a really long-winded way of saying our call incentives that we created are synonymous with the company goals and are synonymous with my wholesaling goals throughout the course of the year, right? So just kind of really, really cool, because obviously the more calls I make, I'll get incentivized to do that just based on our level. And then in addition to that, of course, we get paid on the deals as well. So it's a win-win for the company as well as me personally and individually. So that's wholesale deals in and of itself. Out of the wholesale deals, I also want to focus this year on taking down 3 rentals myself. Based on my most recent rehab, the one that Natalie and I are now living in, got that experience as far as what the rehab process looked like. Also what it was like to work with private financing and then to be able to refinance back out with a conventional loan. So I like the idea of moving forward with the BRRRR method, and basically using the private funding on the front end, rehabbing the property, putting a tenant in there, and then at the 6 month and a day mark, refining back out to a conventional loan, ideally with a 15-year note payoff, and then moving forward, or a minimum of $250 to $300 cash flow per month is what I'm looking for as far as the deal is concerned. I also don't want those rehabs. If it is the BRRRR method, I don't want the rehab to be any more than $25,000 to $30,000 in repairs, just because I don't ever want to deal with a property that I have to do everything under the sun on. So in short, those are the big goals, which again, personally, as well as professionally within the company. And then in addition to that, because of all the changes that we are making, moving forward with the wholesaling out of the box and the flipping out of the box programs, more so on the wholesaling out of the box side, I want to focus on content creation and trying to figure out how to better help the people that we are bringing into the program. We do a really good job of that already, and I don't really know that there's a whole lot to grow in those areas, but I feel like anything can be improved. So really want to focus on that. I want to focus on the content creation for our podcast and just trying to get more experience and information out to people that are just starting, or even people that have been in the game that are still learning, because we're all learning every single day. So those are, in a very long-winded way of saying, my goals for 2021.
Okay, so then how does that break into the first quarter?
Oh, sorry. Okay. I didn't realize you were doing that. Well, so 200 calls roughly per week, right? So 763 per month. So what is that times 3? So 2,300 calls in the first quarter is what has to happen. We also know that on average, we have to go on 5 property walkthroughs as a company, right, in order to see those numbers. So I think it's 5 property walkthroughs actually per every 2 deals that we take down. So I also have to do 5 property walkthroughs throughout the course of any given month. So that would be a minimum of 2,300 calls, 15 property walkthroughs or more, of course. And then as far as content creation, we're going to have to build up what that looks like as far as what we're putting out. Director's commentary are obviously going to be a priority for that, breaking down seller calls and specifically talking about and diving into the acquisition side of the house on how to talk to sellers. As far as the call library content is concerned, that's going to be a plethora of information as far as not only calls with sellers, but calls with buyers, calls with other wholesalers, and discussions on how to JV and what that looks like and how to have those conversations, and kind of just a little bit of everything that you would ultimately deal with at some point in your investing career, especially in your wholesaling or acquisitions career. So content creation, obviously, will create that moving forward. Not 100% clear on what that looks like, but we will be diving into those areas. And ideally, I would like to, if I don't have the first BRRRR taken down by then, I would at least like to have an idea as far as one in the pipeline. And I would like to close that first BRRRR, just close on the initial deal by the end of the second quarter, and then the second one in the third quarter and the third one in the fourth quarter. Unless the deals are too good, obviously, then we'll take them down as needed. But that's kind of the rough goal in mind.
Cool.
Did I answer your question well enough?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, Kaylee.
Yes. So for me, I think he said 30 wholesale deals for the year. Mine comes out the same, but a little differently. So for me, that breaks down to 2 a month in the first quarter, and then 3 a month in quarters 2 and 3, and then back to 2 a month in quarter 4, because that just makes sense as far as the real estate business goes. And also giving me a learning curve in that first quarter still. So that still comes out to be 30 for the year, however. And so that's about 35, 40 calls a day if I'm doing 5 days a week. So that's on my wholesale goals. On the listing side, listing all of Full Circle's deals, of course, and completing my studies for broker's license in the first quarter, and getting my license early second quarter. So that part of the business could be up and running in the late second quarter, early third quarter. So we could just be completely doing that brokerage here with the company. And I also want to do my first flip, or at least start the first flip in the first quarter. So it can be rehabbed and sold in the second quarter. Those are my goals.
Cool. Shawn, you're muted. There we go.
Muted, it says. Okay. So overall, we're talking about, we're going to get to the first quarter, but for the goals of Full Circle and our other sister companies, FOB, WOB, we're going to be I'm looking to hit 1.5. Based on that, we should be 375 in the first quarter through the 3 companies, which would give us into 125 per month. Whether that be wholesaling on our average profit margins that we exist on, or if that's through fixing and flipping, or if that's through lending. So all 3 of those are the avenues that me as owner, and then being part of all those companies collectively. So 375 in the first quarter, 125 a month is where goal wise we're going. What I see goal wise where we're going. I'm also looking to move into, we are looking to move into the Richmond market, which hopefully by doing that, it's all going to be virtual. We'll have feet on the ground. We'll be 100% virtual, meaning that none of our guys will ever go to look at a property. Nobody will ever, none of our company, meaning acquisitions and dispositions, will ever go to these properties, and we will move 1 to 3 properties for the entire year. And then to get consistent behind our closings to where we have consistently 4 to 5 deals a month just on the wholesaling side close. And then if we're breaking down WOB, that would be a little bit different, but let's just focus on FCIG and FOB. So that's where I'm focusing as a company. I think 1.5 for the year and 375 for the first quarter. Analytically, we can get deep dive in those, but we won't go that far deep.
All right, cool. And Cam.
Yeah, so I think that I'm going to try to go chronologically, so maybe it makes sense. So what Shawn talked about moving into Richmond, that is one of the yearly goals. And for myself personally, 3 buy and holds, and 120,000 gross profit from everything coming from Full Circle and any of the sister companies. So that's 120,000 gross in my bank account. And then 2 full-time season acquisition managers, junior acquisition managers. So in the first quarter, I would focus on the moving into Richmond. And little teaser, we've already put our foot in the water, so we're already kind of there. So kind of ahead of the curve in the part of the city. So, but during the first quarter, the goal for that is us to be fully in the market, reaching sellers, talking to sellers, going that route. That would be the first quarter. For the buy and holds, the first quarter would be to grab one. I'm ready to grab one now if it comes. So I'm ready to go on that front, but definitely want to have one down and somebody in it by April 1st, actually rented. So that's a big one. The 120,000. So that would be obviously 30,000 over the first quarter, 10 a month. And Jacob drove down those numbers, get the calls. It's all the same numbers. So a lot of calls to make, a lot of people to touch, and a lot of deals to take down. And then 2 full-time season jams. I don't believe I see that happen in the first quarter. That's more of a latter 2021 starting. I think we need to focus on moving to that other market, right, and getting more leads in the pipeline to support additional acquisition managers. So that was kind of my thinking there. And I think that covers my big ones for the year in the first quarter. Oh, no, it doesn't. 4 flipping out of the box flips. So that would be 1 in the first quarter. So that's the company taking down a flip, managing it throughout. And so we need to get one of those in the books in the first quarter and have one actually looking at right now. So we're looking for that for the first quarter. Got to get that rolling, take one down hopefully in January, be done in March. And that's it, I promise.
Okay. So for my goals, mine are, of course, more back of the office based. And part of that is making all of those changes that we've been talking about to wholesaling out of the box. And I know we keep pushing it and we're not telling you what it is, not really, but I'm super excited about it. And just making sure the first quarter, of course, is going to be ironing out any of the kinks we make to the program. And so some of my big full-time or goals for the year are I want to bring on a full-time marketing person. I do a lot of that myself right now, and Kaylee's kind of started helping, but it's a lot. And we need someone with all of the various sister companies and like Opportunity, that event that we help do. It's just, we really need the help. So bringing someone on, and in the first quarter, that actually looks like putting out that ad for someone. And starting to train them, to show them what we need them to do, what we need them to be working on. And then hopefully by the second quarter, they'll be pretty much up and running on their own. And then working on like, what does a benefits package look like? Because as we're bringing on more people, it's important to know what does it look like, as opposed to just salary, but health insurance or retirement or time off, because we've always, said we can work from anywhere, but that might work for some of us, but not everyone's going to want to do that. They want paid time off, and I can understand that. So making sure to figure out, what does it look like when someone comes on, and what is their time off? What do they get for that? So like I said, yeah, my stuff is more back of the house, and in the first quarter, just trying to get that in order, so that we can, because I'm HR right now, but one of my long-term goals is to get an HR person who can deal with all of that. But just kind of ironing things out in the background for the first quarter, because I think that will help us moving forward with other jams, the marketing person, and anyone else that we want to bring on. Okay, so one final question to end off this episode. What do you guys each want to do more of going into 2021? Anyone want to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
I definitely want to be able to help more people, and not just our sellers, but help people learn the business so they can get out of whatever situation they may be in and grow. That's all I want.
Okay. Jacob.
I'm not 100% sure yet. I feel like there's a lot going on. There's a lot of growth to happen. There's a lot of things that need to happen. But I guess if I could say one thing, I just want to close more deals is really what it comes down to. I want to get to a point where we are consistent with just individually for me with a minimum of 30 deals per year. That's just where I want to be. So one thing I want to do more of is just deals, and more deals.
Am?
All right, sorry, the mute button was slow there. I want to do more joint ventures. So we have a few, it's easy to say you'll JV with anybody, I think. But actually, JVing and helping somebody who legitimately has a deal, legitimately has the drive to want to bring the deal to the table. They've done a lot of work on that side, and they have a deal, and they just need some help. Maybe just one time they need some help, right? And then they're going to do it on their own. Or maybe they want to consistently bring deals. And we have a couple guys that we're working with right now that's a really good situation where they're really grinding. They're really open about their deals. They're looking to learn. We're learning together. I'm learning stuff from them too. I'd like to do more of that because this business is really a lot about relationships, right? And it's really awesome to see the couple guys that I have in mind that they're grinding and they're doing their thing. They just need a little help, right? And like I said, I'm learning from them as well and some things, and we're moving in some short sale scenarios, right, where we've never really played a huge part in. And that's partly because of these JVs and guys that have brought things to the table that said, hey, can you help us do a short sale? Yeah, let's figure out how to do that, right? And That's something that came from that. And that's another way to help a seller out / earn a little income. So yeah, that's joint ventures more in 2021.
Nice. Shawn?
All right. So to help get this money that we have out to work, right? Whether that be in a joint venture scenario, whether that be in a fix and flip scenario, whether that be in a buy and hold rental scenario, we have really been focusing on it over the past year, and we're really going to push for it this year. I think I'll go back with what Cam said, which ultimately goes back to Kaylee and Jacob. To do more deals in general will be those relationships that are built from joint ventures. But from my side of the house to pushing the money around, those are considered joint ventures as well, right? We're joint venturing with people that we have capital and that we can help them do their first deal. Maybe it's the first fix and flip, maybe it's their first rental, whatever that is, right? So my goal this year is I'm really pumped to push the joint venture model of money lending at any of those aspects, but behind a deal, like a true deal based on numbers that work, have it under contract. You're the guy with the contract, not a guy that has a guy that has a guy. None of that jazz. So that's something that we're going to grow into, and we're already starting. So we've already done, hopefully committed to one coming up in January, and looking forward to it. So yeah, I think for growing, it's just pushing this money to work with the right people.
Awesome. Yeah, so mine is I'm looking forward to being able to build more things again this year. I feel like 2020 was sort of a triage. I was constantly triaging things as they came in. We were, like I said in our last podcast episode, we had to pivot a lot with COVID and with some of the things that we were changing. And that's fine. Business has to happen. And I'm not like it is what it is. But I'm looking forward to being able to like come up with ideas and then build on them again, because it feels like I haven't been able to do that in a little while, and I'm finally getting to that point where I feel like I can. So look out, wholesaling out of the box. I might have even more ideas for the second half of the year. Yeah, so that's pretty much it for our 2021 goals podcast. Do you guys have anything else to say? Any final thoughts on what you want 2021 to be, so that we can listen to this again this time next year and see if we were able to do it?
Well,
Punch it, Chewy.
If we were able to do it, actually, come on.
I neglected to mention launching WWOB in the first quarter. So I'm hoping to do that February. That'll be my birthday present to myself.
What is WWOB?
Yeah, give us a little teaser.
Are we saying that yet?
Yeah,
You can give us a little teaser. Just tell us what it stands for, and we'll do a whole other episode on it in a few months.
So it's Women Wholesaling Out the Box. So it's taking our Wholesaling Out the Box program and focusing on just women, because women are not prominent in this business. So showing that women can wholesale too.
Nice.
Awesome.
All right, Cam, final thoughts?
I would just say watch out, because the stuff we have in store and the stuff we have planned is going to be huge.
Yeah.
And that's not me trying to dangle a carrot, but it's going to be pretty freaking awesome.
All right. Awesome. Thank you guys so much for joining us for our 2021 Goals podcast. We'll be back with more information, I believe, next week about all of our fun new wholesaling out of the box things. So look forward to that. And thanks again for listening. We'll catch you next time.